A double closing is actually two closings back to back, or double escrow, or simultaneous close. All different names for the same basic process. It's two closings back to back. And this is how it might work. Let's say, for example, Thomas had a property for sale that he wanted to sell to me. And let's say I would agree I'm going to buy it at the bargain basement price of $90,000. Now, let's say, for example, I'm going to sell it to somebody else. I want to sell it at a higher price. I know I can get more for it. So Fred comes along and says, look, I'll pay you $100,000 for that property. I say, okay, fine. You're going to write me an earnest money check for $10,000 payable to ABC Title Company. Now, brings that check down to the title company. We open escrow at the title company. The $10,000 is deposited into escrow with the title company. Now all those pre-closing issues are done, the inspection, the appraisal, the loan application, all that stuff is completed. And sometime around the morning of the closing that we're actually going to sit down and have the closing, the bank for the buyer wires $90,000, the balance of the purchase price, into the escrow account of the title company, escrow company, or whoever's performing the closing. What happens is, in this double process, the seller, Tom, is going to sign a deed to me, the investor. That deed is deposited into escrow with the escrow agent or title company doing the closing. I will sign a deed for me to Fred, which is also deposited into escrow. And when all the paperwork is completed, the buyer finishes his loan documents, everyone does all the documentation they're supposed to do to satisfy the title company, the closing agent, all the attorneys, the lender, everything's all finished. The loan is funded. So what happens is the title company or escrow company cuts a check for the $90,000 to Tom, cuts a check to me for $10,000 for the difference, and then goes ahead and takes the two deeds and records them back to back down at the county, along with the new mortgage lien to the end buyer here, in this case, Fred. Okay? Now, these parts and pieces don't have to happen all at once. And we can all sit down, all of us at a table, and do it all at once. Or I could do my part with Tom, and then later on in the afternoon do my part with Fred. Or I could even do it opposite. Fred could show up at closing, sign all the loan docs, and then we could tell him we'll come back later on and you can get the keys and the deed. And I sign the deed over to Fred, and then later on that day have a closing with Tom and get the deed from him and then finish it all there. It doesn't really matter in what order we do it. The bottom line is everything is done in escrow. Everything is done in pieces and parts, and when all the parts and pieces are complete, then we finish the closing back to back. So it really is two actual closings that are done either simultaneously or in pieces and parts to make the whole thing complete. Everybody follow that? That's our double close.